Jaya Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jai Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. Hare Krishna, thank you everyone for coming for morning class today. We're going to be reading from Śrimad Bhāgavatam, 3rd Canto, 10th chapter, text 10. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayat Nashta Prayeshu Apatreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Rutam Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtiki Vidura Vacha Yathatha Bahurupasya Hare Radbhuta Karmanaha Kalakyam Lakshanam Brahman Yatha Varnayana Prabhu Vidura Vacha Yathatha Bahurupasya Hare Radbhuta Karmanaha Kalakyam Lakshanam Brahman Yatha Varnayanaha Prabhu Vidura Vacha Yathatha Bahurupasya Hare Radbhuta Karmanaha Kalakyam Lakshanam Brahman Yatha Varnayana Prabhu Vidura Vacha Yathatha Bahurupasya Hare Radbhuta Karmanaha Kalakyam Lakshanam Brahman Yatha Varnayana Prabhu Vidura Vacha Yathatha Bahurupasya Hare Radbhuta Karmanaha Hare Lakshanam Brahman Yatha Varnayana Prabhu. Vaishnavis. Vidura Vacha Yathatha Bahurupasya Hare Radbhuta Karmanaha Kalakyam Lakshanam Brahman Yatha Varnayana Prabhu Vidura uvacha Yatata bahurupasya Hareradbhuta karmanaha Kalakyam lakshanam brahman Yatha varnayana prabhu Vidura uvacha Yatata bahurupasya Hareradbhuta karmanaha Kalakyam lakshanam brahman Yatha varnayana prabhu Vidura vacha Vidura said Yatha as Atha you have said Bahurupasya having varieties of forms Harehe of the Lord Adbhuta wonderful Karmanaha of the actor Kala time Akyam of the name Lakshanam symptoms Brahman O learned Brahmana Yatha as it is Varnaya please describe Na unto us Prabhu O Lord. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Please repeat. Vidura inquired from Maitreya, O my Lord, O greatly learned sage, kindly describe eternal time, which is another form of the Supreme Lord, the wonderful actor. What are the symptoms of that eternal time? Please describe them to us in detail. Purport. The complete universe is a manifestation of varieties of entities, beginning from the atoms up to the gigantic universe itself, and all is under the control of the Supreme Lord in His form of Kala, or eternal time. The controlling time has different dimensions in relation to particular physical embodiments. There is a time for atomic dissolution and a time for the universal dissolution. There's a time for the annihilation of the body, of the human being, and there is a time for the annihilation of the universal body. Also, growth, development, and resultant actions all depend on the time factor. Vidura wanted to know in detail the different physical manifestations and their times of annihilation. Om Jnanatimidandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militanyena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Tvam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I'll be requesting the blessings of all senior and all Vaishnavas present and those online also, so that we can facilitate a nice discussion and understanding of this verse and purport. So the context for this is the chapter is titled The Divisions of the Creation, and here Vidura asks Maitreya about how Brahma created all the beings from his mind and body, and after the disappearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So just to give a quick preview of the next verse, there's a couple of bits that I want to highlight, which also connect to this verse. In text 11, it explains that Maitreya said, the translation is, Maitreya said, eternal time is a primeval source of the interactions of the three modes of material nature. It is unchangeable and limitless, and it works as the instrument of the Supreme Personality of Godhead for his pastimes in the material creation. Do we have a roaming mic? If we can just get it ready. Yeah, great, fantastic. Be ready, there will be questions. And in the purport, it talks about the fact that it says the impersonal time factor is the background of the material manifestation as an instrument of the Lord. It is the material cause of creation and therefore a self-expansion of the personality of Godhead. Time is considered the impersonal feature of the Lord. Absolute time is continuous and is unaffected by the speed or slowness of material things. Time is astronomically and mathematically calculated in relation to the speed, change, and life of a particular object. Factually, however, time has nothing to do with the relativities of things. Rather, everything is shaped and calculated in terms of the facility offered by time. So I have a couple of thoughts on this. Before I say anything, does anybody want to share anything that stood out to them from what we've read so far? Only if you'd like to. I'm not going to, if you'd like to. Did anything stand out to you? Okay, I'll share a bit and then hopefully you will say more. So from this purport, from text 11, and the wonderful question that Vidura has asked in text 10 about the details of time, we can understand that there are seemingly two aspects of time. There's the causal aspect, and then there's our experience of it. The causal function is often referred to as vidhata or providence, and it brings about the interaction of the modes, which is what manifests the various opportunities and circumstances through which souls express their different desires. That's a notion of time that's different to our experience of time, which is how we think about time, like in terms of seconds, minutes, hours, the movements of the sun. So what Krishna is saying when he says in the Gita that time I am, which is in the verse is 1132, time I am the great destroyer of the worlds. That's part of the translation of that. When he says that, he's talking about that causal aspect. So we have some karma and desire, but it's destiny that brings about the situation. That's the causal aspect, and it's, sometimes we say it was unavoidable, it was in his destiny. Destiny pushed him in that direction. That's like saying that it's, when we think about it, what is that factor? What is the thing that's pushing? It's time, because it's bringing things into manifestation depending on what we desire and our karma. Srila Prabhupada also talked about this time bringing things about, or time separating things. In 1965, Mr. Rubin, the subway conductor who had met Srila Prabhupada on a Manhattan Park bench, he remembers, he says, quote, he seemed to know that he would have temples filled up with devotees. There are temples and books, he said. They are existing, they are there, but time is separating us from them. So that's the causal aspect of time, but the other is the aspect that we experience. like in the sense that we experience one moment is different to the next. And in the same way, coming back to this purport, we experience that time changes, whether it's at an atomic level or a cosmic level, whether it's for us or for Lord Brahma, it acts in a similar way in the way it moves things on, whether it's at a big scale or a small scale. So I'm going to ask a question shortly, so just be ready. But in text 12, there's one other very nice part in the purport. It explains that the translation is, this cosmic manifestation is separated from the Lord as material energy by means of kala, which is the unmanifested impersonal feature of the Lord. Again, referring to this time as the impersonal feature of the Lord. And then in the purport, it explains one little section. It appears so because of its being separated. This unmanifested world is the self-same personality of Godhead, but it appears to be something else, or something beyond or besides the Lord. It appears so because of its being separated from the Lord by means of kala. It is something like the tape-recorded voice of a person who is now separated from the voice. As the tape recording is situated on the tape, so the whole cosmic manifestation is situated on the material energy and appears separate by means of kala. So, now's the question. So I've given you a lot of information from this purport that we read today, and a couple of sections from the upcoming 2 verses, with some thoughts, my reflections on the purport for text 11 also. So the question is, can you think of an analogy Srila Prabhupada uses to explain how time is employed to bring creation about by Krishna? Any thoughts? It's an analogy of someone doing something, if that helps. I'm sure many of you know. Any guesses? There's somebody here who's feeling, yeah? Is there a hand here? I don't know. No? Okay, maybe I should. It's in the 4th canto, but the analogy is of a potter. Does that ring a bell? Does anybody know the analogy now and want to try to say it a little bit? Or yes? Yeah, can we give you the mic? Yeah. Yeah.
The pot is already there, but time is separating as he's making from scratch, mixing with the water and other things. Yeah.
Thank you.
The time is just separating there, maybe.
Okay, that's part of it. Thank you. There's one more hand here. Maybe we can take that and then we'll...
The time is like the spinning, yes. And then it can take shape as a result of the spinning. Yes,
you've got it. Between you both, you've cracked that one. Thank you. In the purport from Śrimad Bhāgavatam 4:11-17, it says there are 8.4 million species, different species of life with different wishes. Actually, let me start slightly earlier. It says the atheistic philosophers who do not agree to accept the Supreme Personality of Godhead as the original cause of creation think that the material world moves by the action and reaction of different material elements. There are 8.4 million species of different species of life with different wishes and different actions. How the material force is working cannot be explained just on the basis of a chemical reaction. And then further down it says, a suitable example in this connection is that of the potter and the potter's wheel. The potter's wheel rotates and several varieties of earthen pots come out. There are many causes for the earthen pots, but the original cause is the potter who sets the force on the wheel. That force comes by his superintendence. The pot is produced under certain conditions of action and reaction of material energy, but the potter is not in the pot. In a similar way, the material creation is set up by the Lord, but he remains aloof. As stated in the Vedas, he simply glanced over it and the agitation of matter immediately began. And this is explained a little bit further in the book Before Religion on page 87. There's a diagram as well. I've got it with me if anyone wants to have a look. And it explains that the Bhagavad uses pottery. The Bhagavata is the word used for the Bhagavatam in that particular book, the way it's referred to. The Bhagavata uses pottery as an example that overlaps with Aristotle's categories. So material energy is equivalent to the clay or the potential state. The efficient cause is the wheel and the force applied, which is also equivalent to time. The formal cause is the blueprint or the universal form. And the final cause is the storage vessel or the purpose or the self's desires. So you can read more about it there. But I'll give you a little bit more from that book. So Aristotle would place the potter also as an efficient cause, along with the wheel and force applied. The Bhagavata differs here in pointing out that the potter is not merely an efficient cause like the wheel, but rather the potter has their own independence as the transcendent cause of all causes. The potter must choose to accept the goal of creating a storage vessel. So that's a difference between the two thought systems. Thus, the ultimate reality simultaneously pervades every aspect of the cosmos, as the clay, the process, and the blueprint, and yet also remains transcendent as the potter. The Bhagavad describes it as akin to a spider weaving a web it has created, retracting the web by consuming it, and then repeating the process. All the while, the spider maintains its independent existence. So I hope that sheds a bit more light on that analogy and what's happening then. So I have another question. At what stage of creation is time a factor, and what does it help bring about? Yes, Ru, can we have the mic? Oh, you've got it, great.
The time is at the beginning when it's the pradhan, and then helps to bring into motion all the elements.
Brilliant. It takes pradhan to another state which is called
Mahatattva.
Yes, I think that's right. Yeah, and then it goes to prakriti after that. I have a diagram on that as well. I can put it out in a minute. But so this is just to explain a little bit more about that aspect. For the cosmos to become, for the universe to become manifest as we know it, the internal energy takes on a certain material or limiting qualities, thus transforming into the external energy. And so in that way, we can either see the universe as spiritual or material, or as both, because it's the same energy essentially. This is from Before Religion as well. The ultimate reality is sometimes called nirguna or nirvana, both denote the absence of temporality or any other qualities of material nature. When the internal nature transforms into the external nature, we get saguna. Sa means with, and guna means material qualities. Qualities of nature are thus explained as the most fundamental way of understanding and perceiving reality rather than physical particles. The transformation of internal energy into the external energy is also the first stage of cosmic creation, and its resultant state is a state of potential called pradhan. That's also called saguna Brahman, because it is nirguna Brahman with the qualities. Saguna means with the qualities. So that pradhan is the first state, which has the modes in a latent state. In which, and it says here, in which there's no activity, no time, no manifestation, not even awareness. This state is thus dormant, a vast, almost nothingness. Almost because it's like a void, but it's pregnant with potential. Just like zero is almost nothingness with unlimited potential. It has been compared to being in a completely dark room. You can't see anything, including yourself. So that is the state of pradhan. Now, here on. It is said that this dormant potential state was agitated by the glance of transcendence. The Bhagavata goes on to explain that this glance is composed of the combination of time and the unlimited living beings, the marginal energy. Time represents the will of ultimate reality, and the living beings arrive with their respective destinies and desire. Observation directs consciousness, and this has effects. As one passage describes, and this is from actually Bhāgavatam 5:1838, exactly as a piece of iron moves under the influence of a magnet, inert matter moves when you glance over the total material energy. So without this glance, the dormant state would always remain dormant and we would have no first motion. The infusion of time and the marginal energy, that means the living beings, allows material nature to move from its dormant state to a primordial state, Mahat Tattva. And then some more time is added, and it says, and then onto the activated state, Prakriti. You can think of it like ready, set, go. The potential state to the primordial state to the activated state. And just my own thoughts on this, another analogy for time is it's explained as it's like a mixing rod. It mixes the three qualities, the three modes of material nature, and brings them into an activated state. We've covered a lot right now. But I'm going to say a couple of more things before we open it up to any questions or discussion points or thoughts. So this is from an essay written by someone called Devarshi Prabhu. It's titled Kala, Eternal Time. What is time? So everything that's born has to die. That is the law of material nature. As soon as a man is born, he dies. At every moment. Every birthday reduces our fixed lifespan by 1 year and brings us closer to death. Thus death, in the form of time, is devouring every living entity at every moment. But the last stroke is called death itself. That death is none other than the Lord in his impersonal feature as a time factor. The Śrimad Bhāgavatam compares time to the deadly sharp blade of a razor. Because time imperceptibly devours the duration of life of everyone, one must carefully use one's life properly. Since time represents the Supreme Lord, using time to search for the absolute truth is the best practical use of time. Otherwise, one's life is uselessly wasted in due course of time. And there's a beautiful verse, Śrimad Bhāgavatam 3:31. The personality of God had said, as a mass of clouds does not know the powerful influence of the wind, a person engaged in material consciousness does not know the powerful strength of the time factor by which he's being carried. And in the purport it explains, the great politician Pandit named Chanakya said that even one moment of time cannot be returned, even if one is prepared to pay millions of dollars. The purport continues, one cannot calculate the amount of loss there is in wasting valuable time, either materially or spiritually. One should be very alert in utilizing the time which he has at his disposal. A conditioned soul lives in a particular body for a fixed measurement of time, and it is recommended in the scriptures that within that small measurement of time, one has to finish Krishna consciousness and thus gain release from the influence of the time factor. But unfortunately, those who are not in Krishna consciousness are carried away by the strong power of time without their knowledge, as clouds are carried by the wind. And there's one other beautiful verse from Śrimad Bhāgavatam 2:317. Ayurharati vepam sam udyanashtam chayanaso tasyate chatmano nitya uttama shloka vartaye. Tasyate yatshano nitya uttama shloka vartaya. Both by rising and by setting, the sun decreases the duration of life of everyone who utilizes the time. For everyone except one who utilizes the time by discussing topics of the all-good personality of Godhead. And one encouraging thing in one of the texts leading up to this, so this is the same chapter in text 4, in the purport it says that Brahma engaged himself for the personality of Godhead, Narayan, means that, so that was quoted, that Brahma engaged himself for the personality of Godhead, Narayan, means that he engaged himself in the service of the Lord. That is the highest penance one can perform for any number of years. There's no retirement from such service, which is eternal and ever encouraging. I wasn't sure. Jai Shri Radha Gokulananda ki jai, Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki jai, Shri Gauranitai ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. I wasn't sure if we'd have time to read this verse by Prabodhananda Saraswati from Chaitanya Chandramrita 5. Kevalyam narakayate tridashapura akasha pushpayate durdantendriya kala sarpa patale proktaha damstrayate vishma purnam sukhayate vidhi mahendra dishcha kitayate yat karunaya katakshave bhavavatam tam goram is eva stuma. And the translation is very poetic as well. Kevalya, oneness in the effulgence of Brahman, appears hellish to the devotee. The heavenly planets appear like phantasmagoria. The yogis meditate for sense control, but for the devotee, the senses appear like serpents with broken teeth. The devotee doesn't have to control his senses as they are already engaged in the Lord's service. In the material condition, the senses are like strong as poisonous snakes. But when the senses are engaged in this Lord's service, they are like poisonous snakes with their fangs removed, and so they are no longer dangerous. The entire world is a replica of Vaikuntha for the devotee because he has no anxiety. He sees that everything belongs to Krishna and he does not want to enjoy anything for himself. He doesn't even aspire for the position of Lord Brahma or Indra. He simply wants to engage everything in the service of the Lord. Therefore, he has no problem. He stands in his original constitutional position. All this is possible when one receives Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's merciful glance. So I'm going to stop there. Thank you so much for listening and for your patience. And just to open it up, we have about 10 minutes. If anyone has any comments, corrections, reflections. We have one here. If we can pass the mic forward. There was a lot of information, I know. But it's quite a technical subject matter, and I felt that it was important to read from the Bhāgavatam and to hear Srila Prabhupada's purports on this, because it's easy to see it in a very simple way, but actually this ability to understand the time factor is actually very important, and it's very profound. Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So, with the passage of time, there are some changes which are bound to happen, changes or loss or death. So, just wanted to check with you, what should be our attitude towards such changes? Let's say someone undergoes some loss, let's say financial loss. So, one thought process can be that which is presented in Bhagavad Gita, Ashochayanam Ashochastam, that why are you lamenting? The other thing can be, oh no, Lakshmi is Krishna's energy. It should be and can be engaged in Krishna's service. So a loss of Lakshmi is like loss of something that could have been of valuable for Krishna's service. So which one is correct?
What are your thoughts on it?
I'm confused, Mother, that's why I'm asking.
So the first one was?
Why are you lamenting? With the passage of time.
So don't worry about it. It's coming and going.
In future, anyhow, it would have happened.
You'd have lost it anyway.
Kal would have taken it away anyhow, and Kal is a form of Krishna.
Yeah.
So don't lament, and that's one school of thought.
Yes. And then the other is that Lakshmi could have been engaged in Krishna's service. So, I mean, for a devotee, Srila Prabhupada went through the same experience. I'm thinking of him when I'm saying this to you, because he wanted to make so much money for Krishna to help his Guru Maharaj's mission, actually. And he had many pharmacies and a big business. He was a big businessman, pharmaceutical businessman. But at a certain point, everything started to be taken away from him financially. And I forget the verse from the Bhāgavatam right now, but it explains that this taking away was actually Krishna's mercy. He was made a kinchana gochara, he was made materially deplete as a result of this, of everything being taken away. And he explains this on reflection. He actually talks about it in one of the purports of the Bhāgavatam as well, that this was his experience. So that doesn't mean it wasn't easy, you know, or that doesn't mean it wasn't hard, for him to deal with it. Krishna can show his mercy in both ways. He can show his mercy by giving Lakshmi to facilitate service, to use in his movement. He can also show his mercy by removing facility as well, to direct the devotee in another way. So I think for a devotee, they express and experience everything and take it as the mercy of the Lord ultimately. That yes, the Lakshmi could have been used in his service, but there must be some other plan. And that's why at this particular point it has been taken away, or I've lost some, or whatever has happened, financial situation has happened. Now which way can I maneuver the situation? And it can be sometimes that we can try something once or twice, 3 times, and then we realize that this door seems to remain closed. And sometimes it's because we've hit a karmic ceiling, we could say, or there's some restriction in our karma in that particular area, which means however much we did try and make an effort for something, it's not coming into fruition. So that's why sometimes when people, in kind of secular writing and in the world often say you can manifest anything, that's actually not correct, not according to the Vedas, because you can only manifest what is there present in your karma, dependent on your karma. Beyond that, things can manifest as per Krishna's mercy, but it's not that you can manifest anything. Eventually, yes, if you go to the spiritual world, you can manifest anything. If you attain your eternal position in the spiritual realm, there are kalpavriksha trees and sarabi cows, you can manifest anything. But in this world, in the way we're living our lives now, conditioned by the 3 modes of material nature, bound by the force of time, we can't manifest anything in one lifetime. It may come in the next few lifetimes, we can endeavor for it. But we all have certain things that are charted out for us based on our previous lives and previous actions. And so it is possible for somebody that, if they can try again, they can try once, twice, but if it seems that a certain route is not favorable, they have to change tack and work with that and say, okay, maybe Krishna wants me to do something else now. Let's see which other door's opening to me. I hope that helps. I don't know if you have any more question on that, but it's not easy. It's very difficult. I've been in that situation myself. It's very difficult when unforeseeably you have a loss, And sometimes as devotees we can seem a bit callous because we think, oh, it's just Lakshmi, it's just money, we can say. Or it's Lakshmi, but it's something material. But what we don't realize is, especially in, if somebody's working hard day and night to make that Lakshmi, to make that money for use in Krishna's service, that Lakshmi represents their life. It represents their time. Sometimes people have been in situations where they'll put 20, 30 years into something. Srila Prabhupada is a classic example. And, it's effectively feeling like all that time I invested in something is up to no avail. So it is a loss. It isn't easy. And therefore I think we have to be a little bit careful with the philosophy in terms of the first response you gave, to not worry about it. We can maybe say that later, but initially we may have to try to empathize with where the person's at and what it represents that means for them as well. Yeah, so I hope that helps. Any other questions or reflections, thoughts? Sorry, let's pass the microphone to you. Prayojan Prabhu.
Can you explain the actor part of it?
The actor
He comes
part.
as an actor.
Sorry?
And he comes as a wonderful actor.
Maybe you can explain to us
Well,
your reflection on it first.
yeah. Well, he comes in different forms. Krishna. He's Lord Damodar. He's Vamanadev. He's the killer of Varaha, and he comes as Varaha. So they're acting. He comes as a fish. He's acting about all the time through different animals, different features, and that's what occurs to me.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
He's acting a part.
Everything
But
Krishna does is wonderful.
It's all to do time and place.
Yes. Thank you so much. We have a couple of minutes if there are any last reflections, otherwise we'll close. There's one here actually.
You quoted that nice verse from Prabodhananda Saraswati.
Yes.
About how by the merciful glance of Lord Chaitanya, then our senses become like, they don't disturb us anymore.
Like the snakes with the poison fang removed.
Yeah. So I was just wondering, how do we get the merciful glance of Lord Chaitanya?
Do you have any light on your question?
Sorry?
Do you have any light on your question? Do you have any thought on that, on the answer?
Well, one verse came to mind from the Chaitanya Charitamrita that just by remembering Lord Chaitanya, difficult things become easy, and without remembering him, easy things become difficult to do.
Beautiful. So there lies the answer. By the remembrance of Lord Chaitanya, we can gain his mercy. But also by engaging in the service that he's given us. So we're in an institution, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, which is trying to work in a unified, coordinated way to bring people who are unaware of Krishna to understand about him. And that's a mission that Srila Prabhupada has continued on from the previous acharyas according to their desire. And we have this great benediction of being able to take part in that mission of Lord Chaitanya. And indeed, Lord Chaitanya's pastimes are active and alive now in this movement. And that's an opportunity we all have. So whether our service is to be a pujari or to distribute books or to cook in the kitchen or to decorate the altar or to write or to speak or to sing or, whichever, or to make artistic decorations for the altar. There are so many, these are just a few, there are so many, in fact, unlimited services we can do to take part in this mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So by taking part in this, we can gain his sidelong glance. I hope that helps. Thank you. Anything else, anyone? No? Thank you so much. Thank you for your tolerance and patience and participating in the discussion. Grantharaj Śrimad Bhāgavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta-vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. I hope your friend, hope things work out okay.
Yeah, nothing in my life, but I just ask such questions, and I'm not able to give satisfactory responses to people.
It's very difficult. I think when the person's going through it, just to be a friend is good sometimes, and just to empathize, and then maybe just see what other routes they can pursue. But ultimately, everything is just dependent on karma in terms of things like this. So sometimes it helps the mind if someone's very lamenting a lot to think that this was destiny, because otherwise nothing happens unless Krishna allows it to happen. Why it happens, sometimes we only get a snapshot of why something's happening. But ultimately Krishna's the sanctioner. But if the person doesn't realize that it's a snapshot and there's a bigger life, then they can get very caught up in it. So sometimes even too much philosophy may be difficult for them to understand. Just Shada and Kirtan, coming into the association of devotees, friendship, and then hopefully things will, the burn will soften, you know, because it does sting when you go through losses like that. It can be really, really
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna